This is Six Tackles with Gus, with Matthew Thompson and Gus Gould.
Welcome to Six Tackles with Gus. It's Anzac round coming up, one of the best rounds of the year, maybe the best round of the year, depending on who you talk to. On the show today, Jack the Rabbit. Souths enter the fight to secure Jack Wighton. The tackle that rocked Queensland. Did a Manly hitman seal an Origin debut with just one tackle? We unveil the first round of nominees for the Six Tackles Scariest Player. It is some list. And the tips and a preview of Anzac round. I know you love Anzac round. Gus, welcome.
Yes, Anzac Day. It's the most important year on a national calendar, let alone Rugby League. But as Rugby League, we're proud of the fact that we get a chance to help the country celebrate that day. And it's always a wonderful afternoon. Look, my favourite game of the year. I love it.
And, of course, it's worth pointing out that there's another game on Anzac Day as well. Melbourne and the Warriors have built up their own tradition over the last little while. I'm not sure how long that game's been going for, but that brings together the Australia and New Zealand element, which is also important.
Yeah, for a number of years. Melbourne and Warriors have met on this day as well. But I certainly will be out there at Allianz Stadium on Tuesday for the big clash between Rooster v Dragon. And as I say, it's my favourite day of the year.
At the new ground too. First one we've had at the new Allianz, so it'll be
phenomenal.
Very special to be there. Yep. Let's do our favourite segment.
Yes! No. Dear.
I do notice that you're here without a gag on, so I'm pleased about that. You'll be answering my questions?
In 100% entirety.
Right, very good. Very good.
Don't give
I
me oxygen.
was just thinking, it's a very short podcast today. Okay. West Tigers will get their first win this weekend against Manly. Yes! Oh, you're with the Tigers.
Well, I'm hoping they can. We all want to see the Tigers win a game.
Especially the fans.
Out at Campbelltown.
Yeah.
You just never know your luck in a big city.
How long's it been since they won one? Some stupid.
It's a while now.
200 days or something.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
It's a while. But, they get their chance. Manly were certainly very, very good at Brookvale the other night, but weren't so good when they played away from home the week before. It's just a matter of which Manly team turns up. But, as Tigers, they're getting closer. I still think there's a football team in there somewhere. It's just they've just got to show it this weekend.
We'll preview the round, so without talking in too much depth, do you know anything about the fullback Jareem Buller?
I know he's very slick.
Yeah?
Yeah, very slick. He can run. He got points in him. There's no risk about that. He can run.
An exciting change. One of the exciting youngsters at the Tigers get a chance. We'll talk about all that soon. The Roosters are more dangerous with a Manu Keary halves pairing.
Yes! Can't imagine what takes them so long to make the change. That's their best halves combination for mine. So, and that's nothing against young Walker, but at the end of the day, Keary has won premierships playing in that position, and Manu, they've got to get him closer to the ball. It's as simple as that. They've got to get back to playing football and not just trying to outmuscle teams the way they have in, I don't know, seems like the last year. But look, this is a highly talented football team, a highly talented roster, and it's underperforming at the moment. They need points, and they need to get back to playing football. And that's not telling them anything they don't know. And that's why they've made the change. They've bit the bullet, and Keary will steer the team around the field, and Manu will be given the responsibility of creating the opportunities.
Where does it leave Walker, do you think?
To fight his way back.
Yeah.
Is he on the bench?
He's on the extended, like 22, number 22.
Yeah. Well, if you put him on the bench, you're really only covering for injury, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which may be a case with Keary if he's got that continuing concussion issue that he's got, but he seems to have got through that pretty well. As most do. So I think that, he's just going to have to fight his way back. It's not the end by any. He's still a young man.
No.
Not the end of it by any stretch of the imagination. But, I think right at the moment, this is the change that the Rooster needs.
Okay. Australia has named its squad today for the World Test Championship against India and the Ashes. And Australia's going to win both. Yes! Yeah, baby. Want me to read you the squad?
Yeah, go on.
Warner, he's in. Kawaja Labuschagne, Smith Head, Green. Then the spare batsmen are Marcus Harris, Matthew Renshaw. Mitchell Marsh is in the squad. Alex Carey and Josh Inglis. Then Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, Josh Hazelwood, Scott Boland, Nathan Lyon, Todd Murphy.
I'm a typical fan. I start every series with a great deal of optimism. I get disappointed a lot, though.
They'll be winning.
We're very up and down, but I think we're winning. I think we'll win.
You'll be able to see the Ashes on 9.
Beautiful.
The best. The best. Don't know how I thought of this one. In a battle between the club mascots, we love club mascot duels here on Six Tackles, the Dolphins wouldn't beat anyone.
No. The Dolphins wouldn't beat anyone.
The mascot. So who would a Dolphin... Like, if you... Like the actual real-life mascot...
Didn't you ever see the show Flipper? Flipper beat up sharks every week.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
He sort of rammed him. He'd give it to him. The shark would come after someone he loved and he'd get in there and rip into him.
That's why the Dolphins are going so good.
Yeah, didn't you ever see Flipper?
No.
Seriously?
He used to talk.
Yeah, and he'd go and get the posse when he needed help and everything. He was like a puppy dog.
Oh, really?
He was very good. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be on YouTube somewhere. There'll be some old Flipper shows.
So I've underestimated the Dolphin.
The Dolphin beats shark every time. Beats shark every time. You know, they'd have the scene where the shark was coming after someone in the water. Dolphin.
So he just rams him.
Flipper, yeah, just rammed him from the side. Gave it to him.
Gutsy.
Then they'd show a bit of blood in the water.
All right.
The shark gone.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, so, when the Dolphin plays shark, mascot gets the money.
The Dolphin beats the shark.
Yeah.
I'm glad I asked. Is it time to bring back the 5-minute sin bin? Yes!
It's time to eradicate the sin bin altogether, if you ask me. Sick of the sin bin. I'm sick of all the sin bins we've got. Just keep throwing people off the field for no reason.
So, if say with these hip drops, right now, a few are borderline. I mean, it's obviously polarising this issue, but some are borderline. We get some of those careless slaps around the head, and blokes don't mean it. I don't think anyone wants to see them off the field for 10. Is there scope?
Why are they going off the field? If it's borderline, it's a slap. Why are they going off the field for 5 minutes anyway?
Well, that's the direction that they've decided to take it in relation to dangerous play.
Way too many sin bins, way too many penalties, way too many 6 agains. You know, the world's gone crazy. It's absolutely gone crazy. Absolutely gone crazy.
What are you saying on a serious? But would you consider the reintroduction of a 5-minute sin bin for some areas?
Yeah, well, the less sin bin, the better. You know, and I've said even the 10-minute sin bin. If you have a player sin bin for whatever, a professional foul or whatever they've decided they're going to send him to the sin bin for, and then his team concedes a try, then the sin bin should end. He's come off. That's the penalty. Shouldn't be 2 and 3 tries. You know, that's just way too big a penalty for whatever's occurred. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So the shorter the sin bin period, the better. 2 minutes. You know, set him in the naughty bay for 2 minutes or something or other. But you know, you're talking to the wrong bloke, mate.
Well, no, I understand.
And sin bins change the course of games, and then later it finds out that they were innocent anyway. I mean, that happened with the Jacob Preston one for the Bulldogs a few weeks ago.
You're not allowed to mention
He was penalised, he was sin binned. Of course I can. He was penalised, he was sin binned, and it turns out incorrectly, but that was a very important part of the game, very pivotal part of the game. You have to be absolutely certain before you go sending people from the field.
We had a sin bin reversed on the weekend.
Yeah, and so it should.
Captain's challenge, and he said he didn't even do it.
Exactly. Of course he didn't. Well, a lot of them don't. Sin bins, you know.
So, okay, let me change the question. Should we bring the 10-minute... All sin bins should be 5 minutes, not 10?
I'm happy with that.
Yeah?
Yep.
If there's going to be more... If the sin bin's going to be
and
more prominent...
And then you'll have people saying, oh, the players will play on that and give away more because they can tackle for 5 minutes and not for 10. Or you keep, if you want to keep it at 10 minutes for the more serious offences... I mean, if you've stopped a try-scoring opportunity, if you've dead set, tackled a bloke who was going to score a try, well, it's going to be a penalty try anyway, isn't it?
Mm.
I think some of the sin bins that they put in are just very, very pedantic.
Well, Guy has sent an Ask Gus question about sin bins.
Yeah.
Given the revival of sin bins in recent seasons, did you ever get sin bin as a player? And if so, what for? And basically, what do you do in the sin bin?
What do you do in the sin bin?
So the sin bins, you just go into the dressing room, don't you?
Yeah, you go to the dressing room. Now, I got sin binned once in my career.
Is that all?
Once.
Huh?
Yeah. I got sin binned, I think, for saying something to the referee. And it was Bill Harrigan.
Say no more.
Yeah. So he
sin binned you as a coach as well.
He sent me to sin bin. Unlucky for me, it was the Sydney Cricket Ground, and I was way over in the far corner near the hill. Had to run all the way to the members' grandstand. By the time I got there, it was time to turn around and come back. It was a long way off and a long way back.
So they were 5 minute sin bins back then, weren't they?
Was
it 5?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Can't remember. Well, there was a 5 or a 10. He'd have given me the max. He'd have sent me off it.
Bill Harrigan, he just used to give it to you.
He'd have given me the max.
So you just sit there twiddling your thumbs, basically, don't you?
I never got sent off. I got sent off in a trial game. I was playing for Penrith against Canberra in a pre-season trial game, and I was playing against a mate of mine, Mick Lewis, and we had a fight. He hit a bloke, and I went in and we had a fight, and we both got sent off, and then we shared a can of beer on the hill watching the rest of the game together. That's the only time I ever got sent off. I had to stand up for my teammate.
I'm surprised you got sent off having a blue back then.
Yeah, I think if it was a fair income fight, he'd have killed me, but we had to do our best.
Gus, the news today. Only a couple of minutes ago, this is broken that Canberra, as we know, had tabled a massive offer for Jack Wighton, over $1 million a year, but Souths look like they're chiming in.
Mm-hmm.
One of South Sydney's trump cards in trying to secure Jack Wighton is his friendship with Latrell Mitchell. There's another couple of mates that are blue at the start of the year.
I think they're related, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah, I think they're related.
Right.
In some way.
Okay.
Yeah.
They shared a few too many beers before they had a blue. The pair were inseparable during the Rugby League World Cup in England. They catch up whenever their schedules allow. This intriguing development will result in Rabbitohs coach Jason Demetriou and his mentor, Dolphin counterpart Wayne Bennett, pitching for the same player for the first time. Now, Wighton to South Sydney. We'll deal with that one first. I don't know how they fit him in, so he's not going to command that. If he wants to go and win a premiership, I mean, you've been saying this. If he wants to go somewhere to win a premiership, he's going to have to take less money.
What position would they play?
They're saying potentially in the centres.
Well, why would Jack Wighton leave Canberra to go and play in the centres for someone?
When all of South stars are available, one of the options would be for Wighton to play in the centres. However, his versatility would give any coach welcome headaches about how to best utilise the New South Wales and Australian rep.
Well, they've got Latrell playing fullback. They've got Cody Walker playing 5'8". They've got Cameron Murray playing lock.
Ilias at halfback.
Ilias at halfback. He's not a halfback. No.
Playing the second row.
Well, I think he could play lock or so, but they've got Keon Kalamatangi. They've got Cameron Murray. Yeah, it'd be interesting how they could fit in another $1 million player and where they would play him.
The Bulldogs interested in Jack Wighton?
I don't think so.
I mean, you don't think so. You're the boss.
Well, I would consider any player of that talent that's on the market, but again, where do you fit him in? Both to the salary cap and to your team, and what's his motivation for wanting to do that? But
he's been in the headlines for a couple of weeks now because he's retired from rep footy, and Ryan Murphy asks you, thoughts on players retiring from rep footy? Seemed to be an uproar when Jamie Lyon did it, but Wighton seems to be getting a lot more understanding. I suppose it happens more regularly now. Does it also justify the Raiders' higher contract offer given he's able to play more games?
Yeah, I think it would be a boon for whoever's recruiting him now. He's 30 years of age now.
Yes.
I mean, he's at the back end of his career. You'd think he'd have another 3 or 4 years left in him for sure, and he probably wants to dedicate that to whoever's playing the marquee money for him to be on their roster. Jamie Lyon caused, I can remember back then, because he was quite young when he pulled out of rep football.
Yeah, I reckon he was like mid-20s.
Yeah, he was quite young. And so, yeah, I often wonder, particularly young players, when they don't want to go to rep football, then what's your motivation? What is it you're playing for if you don't want to represent at the highest level and push yourself to that level? Jack Wighton's had a distinguished representative career. I think he's been in the system at the Raiders for 14 years. He's very versatile. He's a winner. He's a very dominant character. He's a physical player. I'm quite sure he could provide leadership, and there are plenty of teams around that need plenty of that. So he'd be a welcome acquisition at any club if you can fit him in salary cap wise, and if you can find a position that he wants to play. I haven't heard yet what he wants to play. I find it very strange that he would leave the Raiders to take up a position in the centres for South Sydney, given all the marquee players that they've got in that roster. If it's purely just to win a premiership, well, I can understand it.
Yeah. That's what he'd have to be focused on, isn't it?
Yeah, but, whether at 30 years of age, his best position is playing in the centres with them, or maybe he just wants to go and play with Latrell. I don't know. You have to ask Jack, I suppose. But he's certainly a quality player. I mean, any club would love to have him, and it's interesting that he actually wants to leave the Raiders at this stage of his career. Maybe he wants to go and experience a different culture. Maybe it's a lifestyle change. Maybe it's getting towards the end of my career. I want to go and experience other things before I head off into retirement and look at other things in my life. Maybe the Raiders aren't going as well as what he would have liked. Maybe he wants to get out of his comfort zone and try us elsewhere. I think marquee players like this probably get one move in their career, and he's decided that this is probably the time to do it. So
at the bottom of this,
all power to him.
Yeah, at the bottom of this article, he did an interview yesterday, and this might be a telling quote. I'm proud of my representative career. It's something that can never be taken away. I just felt it was time for me to focus on club footy and to try to win a premiership.
Okay, well, if that's his major motivation, that's a good one. It's obviously then not about money and not about lifestyle. It's about putting himself in a position where he thinks he can be heard as a leader and where he can make a contribution to a team winning a premiership, which would also suggest that maybe he doesn't think it's going to happen at the Raiders, that maybe they've had their chance.
The way they're playing, you would find it hard to disagree with that.
He could well stay at the Raiders. He may have a look around and decide, no, I'm happy where I am. I think he lives on acreage down there in Canberra. He's a country boy. He comes from out Orange way, I think, somewhere near Orange, Wellington or somewhere. Or Dubbo. Might be Dubbo. Anyway, all power to him. But he's a very good player. Any club would love to have him. It's just where he sees the right fit for himself.
Lovely restaurants around Belmore, Jack.
Plenty of restaurants.
You wouldn't go without a feed or a good coffee. In fact, Gus will pay for your coffees. Joe Bells?
What are you doing? You're running an ad, are you?
Yeah. I'm trying to get him to Canterbury.
Oh, right.
Savvy Jack, on the subject of South, Campbell Graham's in form, played wing for the Kangaroos. Would you have him on a wing for New South Wales?
I could play Campbell Graham anywhere. He's he's got that origin look about him. I've been saying that to Brad Fittler for 3 years. And I know Brad had him in junior rep teams, I think, coming along the way for New South Wales.
I think he's been in origin squads, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a try scorer, he's a try saver, he's got the physicality, he's got the height in the air, he's a kick target, he's a kick defender. He can play either side of the field, he can play wing or centre. He'd be a very valuable asset in any team. You know, he's got Trebojeviches and Latrell Mitchells and Brian To'os and Daniel Tupos and all these players to contend with for that position. It's a fairly hotly contested position, but he's origin class, I've got no doubt.
How's wing differ in origin compared to club footy? Is it more yardage you're looking for?
Yeah, I think you need wingers that can help you out of the backfield. There's no risk about that. You need to be able to come in and muscle your way and get some yardage and help your forwards out, because everyone's sort of running on empty out there. You need to be able to save tries. You need to be able to score tries. Probably one of the better performed ones has been Dane Gagai in recent years.
Yeah.
He plays centre for his club, but plays wing for Queensland, and prolific try scorer and try saver, and his yardage counts are huge. You need those people that can finish and that can save, and it's speed or physicality. Brian To'o has been an immediate success because of his yardage gains and what he can do. So
he runs it hard too.
It's a very, very important position in Origin is winger. It's a very important position.
But just on the subject, and look, I know you don't want to buy too much into Origin selection because we're a long way out. I mean, people go through and they pick their teams, and Latrell's in every team that people pick. Is Latrell an automatic pick?
I think if he's fitting well, motivated to do it,
Yeah.
I think he's a try scorer. He's a game breaker. He makes people miss. He misses and gets them to miss tackles. Like as a left centre, he's probably I know he plays fullback for his club, but he's probably the premier left centre. And then if something happens to a Tedesco during the course of the game, you've got him or Trebojevic who could pop back to the back, depending on what you've got on the bench. If you've got a Wighton on the bench, well, you've got an immediate left centre there. If you've got a Campbell Graham on the bench, you've got an immediate centre replacement right there. If they go with a Nico Hines type, depending on the battle in the halves, about who they select there, and I think they'll stick with Luai and Cleary. There's no reason to change that. But Nico Hines deserves his blue jersey. Can Nico Hines play in the centre? He certainly played fullback. He's done that for the Melbourne Storm. He covers a few positions. I'm sure he could play dummy half. I'm sure he could play lock forward at that level. for 15, 20 minutes at different times. So it's interesting. It's like I say, I try to pick my bench first. I like to know what's coming off the bench, what positions I've got covered, what I can impact. If we're behind, can we change the course of the game? If we're in front, can we ram home the advantage? And whether a 6 in front or 6 behind with 10 minutes to go, have I got a team that can defend that lead, or have I got a team that can make it up? And you work your interchange accordingly. The bench for me was a priority.
Certainly got some depth in the forwards, New South Wales, so that bench will be.
You always get
powerful.
me into you and Bracey. You always get me into talking about Orange's selections way too early. Way too early.
Because people want to know what you think.
But way too early. Way too early.
We're spitballing.
Yeah, but it's all conjecture. It's all speculation. You wait till the medical's over, and then you say, well, okay, what have I got left?
Well, guess what? I'm going to talk to you about more Origin, because it was the monster hit felt by Justin Olam, and no doubt caused plenty of concern for every Queensland Origin hopeful. Hamoli Olakau'atu flattened Olam on Friday night. Gus could feel it in the Shire, it was that big a hit. Olakau'atu told the Herald he couldn't recall making a bigger tackle. I don't think I've seen too many bigger ones calling. Jonathan Thurston said on our coverage, I'm glad I'm retired. Now, JT is an assistant coach for Queensland. The hitman Hamoli.
Yeah,
Throw him a jumper.
I think he was in the Origin team long before that hit.
Yeah.
That just sort of confirms it for me. But he's an attacking force, and he's also got defensive power and defensive grit, and he's a very, very talented young man. He's obviously genetically blessed. He's a big boy, and he's got long levers, and he's got great butt movement, and he can offload, and he can score tries. He's a real weapon. For me, he's the type of player that'll succeed at Origin level because he makes things happen. You want players that, you don't. When you pick an Origin team, you don't know who's going to come up with the winning play. No one does. You don't know which player. So the more you've got out there that have got the capability to do it, the better. You want those real footballer types that believe in themselves and aggressive, and they can make people miss, or they can get a ball away, or they can, they make things happen. And it might be a huge defensive play. It might be something like that jolts a ball free, that stops a team coming in to get the winning score. There are all sorts of ways to win Origin games, and the more people you can have that are versatile, the better. And Olakau'atu he's versatile, and he's very, very good.
I don't think I've seen a sustained physical performance like that from Manly in a long, long time at club level. That was just brutality.
I'm sure we have. The conditions suited, being a little bit wet. The circumstances suited because they'd been embarrassed themselves the week before, so I always feel there's a huge focus on defence. That became easier because of the wet weather and the lack of ball movement, and probably because Melbourne Storm didn't play all that well. So they were able to stand over them and get the job done.
But did Melbourne not play well because they got bashed out of it?
Well, that was a contributing factor, yeah. But I think Melbourne played into their hands a little bit. I don't think Melbourne Storm were expecting that.
No.
They might have anticipated improvement, but they weren't expecting that. That was just right off the old fashion shelf. They pulled that out of the history books. That one.
That was cracking.
Lovely to watch. Lovely to watch. I love that sort of football.
Like you say, they've got to back it up now, don't they? It's hard to do it week in, week out.
It's not an easy way to play every week, but it's nice to know it's in your kit bag. It's nice to know you can pull it out whenever you want.
Yeah. Gee, they're a different side at home, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, a lot of teams are like that. But I don't know what happened the week before out there at Penrith. It was just kind of like they never got on the bus. They went there, but they didn't go there. Like, they just didn't really apply themselves at all. And it's sort of, I guess in a team game where you've got 17 players out there, in a team game, not everyone's going to have their best day every week. There are going to be players that have average days or ordinary days, and maybe one or two will have bad days. And then you'll have the day where 9 or 10 of them are off the pace. And thinking maybe they're the only one, but it turns out they've got plenty of mates on the day, and they just can't get themselves out of it. And they're playing the premiership team, playing at home, and Penrith put them to the sword. But to show the grit with the club, and Manly's a great gritty football club, they felt embarrassed. They owned it. They came out the next week and gave it to the Melbourne Storm. It was wonderful to watch.
Even the wingers putting hits on in his third NRL game.
Everyone. It was physical. It was terrific. Mind you, we got 4 charged and 2 suspended, and
thought it was Steve Maddai and George Tafil were back at their best. Hey, have you spoken to Craig Bellamy this week?
Why would I be speaking to Craig
Because
Bellamy?
they reckon he's going to coach again.
Craig Bellamy? So he should.
You haven't talked him into it again?
So he should. I only tell him once, so he should. He's not allowed to retire.
They're going to carry him out of there on a Zimmer frame.
We can't afford blokes of his talent to retire. We can't afford to have those coaches out of the game. Even if it's just coaching other coaches, you can't afford to lose that amount of, intelligence and ability from the game. Like Wayne Bennett should go to the next franchise when it opens up. Let him set that one up. He could become a professional franchise.
He'll be 80 years old.
Eh?
He'll be 80 years old, the poor bloke.
Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, trains every day. What's he going to do? Like he said to me, he said, I don't play bowls, I don't play golf, I don't go to the pub. What am I going to do? He likes going to football games. He likes coaching football. That's what he does with his life.
Do you reckon he's got a hobby at all?
Football.
You've got to do something else, though, don't you? Like, there must be something about him that no one
Football.
knows. That he likes doing stuff.
That's what he's done.
Is he a gardener? Do you reckon he gardens?
I don't know. I think he got a hobby farm, or he had a hobby farm at one stage. I don't know what he did there.
What's a hobby farm? Like grows.
Well, you're not really a farmer, but it's a hobby. You like to pretend you do.
Do you reckon he's a cook?
I can't see him being a cook.
Couldn't you?
No.
With the apron on and
No.
getting the herbs.
No, I think he likes to go out and have a meal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Someone said he likes chocolate. Every time his team has a win, he has chocolate. That's his indulgence. That's his one vice.
Chocolate.
Fancy your only vice being chocolate.
How boring. I mean, chocolate's part of my essential diet. It's his treat. Anyway, on Bellamy, they're saying in the next few days he's going to make a definitive call as to whether he'll coach next year, but sources close to him say he might go around again, and that has flow-on effects for the Dragons role. It looks like Anthony Griffin's gone, whether it be this year or the start of next year. Obviously, Jason Ryles is a key target for the Dragons, but if Bellamy retires, they think he might go to Melbourne. If Bellamy goes around again, then will he think about going to the Dragons? So there's all these ifs and buts and whatever.
Well, my understanding is that Jason Ryles has another year to go on his contract at the Roosters, and was probably committed to not disappointing the Roosters like that. Now, the Roosters have had a couple of assistant coaches over the years that have left them to go and take other jobs before their contract is up, and Jason Ryles says he wasn't going to be that sort of guy. So whilst there are NRL jobs available right now, he still feels a commitment to the Roosters to fulfil his contract there because he doesn't want to burn any bridges there, which would mean that if Bellamy went around again for another 12 months, that would fit in nicely with Jason Ryles. And if Bellamy kept a overseeing role with the Melbourne Storm post that, he has worked closely with Jason Ryles in the past. I think that's a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I really do. And somewhere where he would feel really comfortable. The Dragons is a completely different job, completely different priorities than what the Melbourne Storm job would be, where he would actually just fit back in like a warm pair of slippers.
Yeah.
So that timing makes sense to me, and it makes great sense. And I think it's great for the game that Bellamy sticks around. Like, why deprive all those future young players at the Melbourne Storm of his expertise and his mentorship and, those young coaches coming through? And they've got some really nice, really good young assistant coaches down there that, I'm sure he can fit it in, Craig Bellamy.
I know that a lot of the talker is around Des Hasler, and you've been advocating that he's a great option for the Dragons. What about Michael Maguire? I know you're a Michael Maguire fan.
Yeah, they're all good coaches. But some clubs are set up better than others.
Would Michael Maguire's hard edge approach suit the Dragons at this point?
This week it would. Yeah, Michael Maguire's a good coach. But no doubt he's a good coach. But, you've got to put yourself in an environment where that's all you have to do is coach.
Yeah, right.
And not have to worry about everything else.
Yes.
There are so many other things that beat them other than coaching. And I find that with all the coaches that lose their job. It's not the football that beats them, it's the other stuff. So it doesn't matter where it is. If a coach fails, the club has failed. And you've got to take that responsibility. If a coach fails, everyone in the club has failed. All right? So everything needs to be fixed, not just the coaching.
Yeah,
everything needs to be fixed.
And that's very true of the Dragons.
Yeah, and if you've provided the perfect roster and the perfect system and the perfect development system and your salary cap's in good shape and and everything's going right commercially off the field and all that sort of. If all those things are being done right and you think you've got a premiership winning roster and they're running 14th, then you might suspect you've got a coaching problem. But that's rarely the case.
Yeah, that's true.
That's rarely the case. You know, so it's not the coaching that beats them. You know, and it's why young coaches need to start off in the right environment. It's not just take any job because it's up, because some jobs are just different to others. They're all big jobs, they're all hard jobs, but some are different to others depending where the club is at that time and what needs to be done around the club to build itself a sustainable success. It's just not a matter of flicking a switch and getting a coach and buying a halfback and saying, well, hey, the gang's all here, because within no time you'll be back where you were anyway.
This is what you've been working on, isn't it?
If you've had, well, we've done it a few times, but if you've had a period of difficulty and sustained poor performances, you know, it's got a lot more to do with just coaching.
Yeah.
You know, there are very few clubs that can put their hand up and say, we've got a premiership winning roster and we're 1 and 13th. That just doesn't happen. You know, there's something else going on.
How's your coach going?
My coach?
Going good?
He's outstanding.
Has he got any hobbies?
He's doing a great job. Yeah, he's got a lot of hobbies.
What does he do?
Lots of things. Lots of things. He's very well read. He's very well educated. He's got lots of different activities that he's involved with. He's doing an outstanding job. I feel for him at the moment. And I told him it was going to be tough. I told him it would be tough this year, and it's made all the more tougher by all the injuries that we've had. But I can't fault the energy in the club. I can't fault the commitment to what they're doing. I don't think they've deserved the last 2 scorelines they've got. They were far better than that. And I think any sensible person watching the football can see massive improvement in various areas of the game. But, you know, right at the moment, things just aren't going their way, which he puts down to character building. He says, you know, we're going to be so glad we went through this tough period and we'll come out the other side. I've got no worries about Cameron Ciraldo.
No, I didn't suggest there's any worries. He's a cool, calm
handles
figure.
himself very, very well.
Are you going to, any chance you're going to unleash the young kid this week? Olawapu?
I don't know what he's planning there.
Okay. Six tackle trivia. I like this question. Jordan's done very well. Since his Origin debut in Game 3 of the 2016 series, James Tedesco has been New South Wales fullback in every game since. That's quite the record. Queensland have had 8 different fullbacks in that time. Can you name them?
Oh, please.
Or how many can you name? From 2016 onwards.
2016, 7 years ago. 8 different fullbacks.
Here's some thinking music while Gus ponders his Queensland Origin fullbacks. We'll be back with more after this. So, Teddy has... That's incredible, isn't it? Since Game 3, 2016, James Tedesco has not missed a game. Won the one for New South Wales every Origin since. Queensland have had 8 fullbacks.
Wow.
Now, they used... I'm going to give you... I think it's a hint. Freddie's first series... Was it his first series? They had... well, they used 2 in that series, and then there was the 2020 series where they had a few as well.
That was Bennett's series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that the COVID year?
That was the end of when we played at the end of the season.
End of the season, yeah. Well, I guess we go back to Slater.
1.
I can't remember him. Ponga.
2.
I got no idea. I don't care about Queensland. I don't even watch what they do.
Come on. You had one of them at your club last year. Yeah. Can you believe that? He left.
Corey Allen.
Did
he play fullback?
Yep.
I thought he played centre or wing.
He wore number 5, played fullback.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh, well, now that's going to be a trick question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Gagai could have played there for all I know.
There's another one, a very, very prominent Queensland player, played fullback, won a premiership at fullback. I think.
Won a premiership.
Under Wayne, not at Brisbane. Playing for a different club than Brisbane.
It's only the Dragons.
Correct.
He played fullback for the Dragons. Oh, yeah, I know. Darius Boyd.
Correct.
Yep. No, I don't know.
Valentine Holmes.
Oh, okay.
AJ Brimson.
Okay.
Cam Munster.
Cameron Munster?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Michael Morgan.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that was easy. I should have got all those.
Should have.
I don't care about Queensland.
Corey Allen.
I don't think about
Corey
that.
Allen. You get 7, and then Corey Allen pops up.
Corey played on the wing. I was playing wing and centre.
How about that? Corey Allen. Okay. We've had over 2,000 nominations for scariest man in rugby league.
Oh, go away.
Hey, I'm reading it. I'm not the producer. We've had over 2,000 nominations.
Oh, people have got to get a life.
Geez, I'm glad you're buying in here. So we initially thought last week we'd do current players, but people have been throwing in these great historical ones. So you know what? We just opened it up.
Okay.
Scariest man ever.
Yep.
So we've worked through them. It's taken a long, long time to do this. We've got them down to 16. Now, how are we going to do this? We've got to get it to 8. You're going to have to eliminate half the field today.
Right.
The nominations in the final 16 of Scariest Man in Rugby League are Gordon Tallis, Nelson Asafa-Solomona, David Gillespie, Paul Harrigan, Les Davidson, Adrian Morley, Aden Fanua-Blake, Sam Burgess, Ruben Wiki, Mark Geyer, Carl Webb, Sonny Bill Williams, Manu Ma'u, Tony Carroll, Fui Moi Moi, and Jared Waria-Hargreaves.
That's their nominations. And
That's what we've come down.
Did they say what was scary about them? Scary in what sense?
Scary. If you saw them at the other end of the field.
Give me the pen, because some of these blokes just aren't scary.
Oh, and I've got one too that I want to put in.
They're too nice.
Can I put one in?
What?
Bruiser Clark.
Bruiser Clark. Bruiser Clark was scary. Scare the buffet.
Sounds like a character from Roy and HD, doesn't he? Bruiser Clark.
He's a champion.
Yeah. Right, what do you want to do? Do you want to just narrow
Well, I'll
these
go down
down?
the list. Dave Gillespie's the nicest bloke you'd ever meet. He's not scary.
Right.
Paul Harrigan was a nice bloke. He wasn't scary.
What, the chief charging back at Mark Carroll wasn't scary?
No. It was scary for Mark Carroll. It wasn't scary for me.
Yeah.
Les Davidson, only if you afford him. He's a nice bloke.
Les Davidson gone.
Wow. Carl Webb wasn't scary. Sonny Bill Williams wasn't scary. I suppose he might have been. Tony Carroll wasn't scary.
Mm.
Oh, man, got 1, 2. Gordon Tallis could be scary. 1,
He
2,
was scary.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
You've got 3 to go.
3 to go.
Fui Moi Moi.
Sam Burgess was a fair player. He wasn't scary.
Hey?
No, he wasn't scary.
Jeez.
Ruben Wiki could hit. I don't think Sonny Bill Williams I'd call scary.
I can't believe Sam Burgess doesn't make
Manu Ma'u I wouldn't call scary. So I've got Tallis, Sofa Solomona, Adrian Morley, Aden Fanua-Blake, Ruben Wiki, Mark Geyer,
He's scary?
Fui Moi Moi, Jared Waria-Hargreaves. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's my 8.
Okay. All right. So are we going to vote on these? We're going to put them out on social media.
Right.
In pairs, and then we'll have them down to 4 next week.
A lot of former players there. There's no...
Yeah.
Who are the current day players? There's
Well...
Nelson Asafa-Solomona.
Do you want to throw a couple of wild cards in?
Aden Fanua-Blake. No.
Huh?
Aden Fanua-Blake and Jared Waria-Hargreaves. There's only 3 modern day players in there.
What about James Fisher-Harris? I thought he might have got a run.
Ooh. He'd be scary on a dark night.
You can put him in if you want.
Yeah, but he doesn't play scary. He doesn't. Okay. He's not that sort of player.
All right. No Bruiser Clark?
No.
They're the 8.
Bruiser was a lover, not a fighter.
Did you get the thing? I sent you a photo of him on Big Rugby League Week. It looked like a spoof. I hope he listens. Bruiser, we love you. Let's preview Anzac round, shall we? Okay. What do we got? So it's a round. So we start tomorrow night and then we end on Tuesday.
Yeah, got plenty.
And then we're back into it next Thursday?
There's no footy on Monday, though, is there?
No.
Do
we play Tuesday round 9? Thursday round 9, sorry?
I'm sure.
Let me have a look. That's a 2-day turnaround. We do. Sharks Cowboys. So we've got footy Tuesday, then we have a day off, and then we play Thursday round 9. Rabbitohs versus Panthers is the first game. We preview the round thanks to Bluebet. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. The odds that we'll give you here are correct as of 9 a.m. Wednesday, 19th of the 4th. Now, the Rabbitohs are $2.70 outsiders against the Panthers at $1.47. Penrith limped home. They were poor against the Knights, but they still managed to win. In respect to team news, there's no Keon Koloamatangi for South Sydney, and for the Panthers, Fisher Harris missing now. Liam Martin's got issues with his hamstring that'll keep him sidelined again. So he came back, played one game, and he's gone again. But it's Souths and Panthers, that old rivalry which Penrith have dominated recently.
Yeah, I think this one's pretty close. First advantage is it's not at Penrith. It's being played at Acor. Panthers have had the wood on them over the past few years at the pointy end of the season. They just seem to be able to get their money, although South beat them a couple of years ago in a preliminary final.
Which I think is the last time they beat them.
Yeah, but they were quite dominant in the preliminary final last year when they came up against them. I'm not sure that Panthers are going quite as well as they were then. Right at the moment, Rabbitohs attacking football looks more dangerous than Panthers attacking football, right as they stand today. Koloamatangi is a big out, but their spine is still intact. Having said that, the Dolphins had their measure at halftime the other night, and then lost a player to the sin bin, and South came to light as they usually do, and they're very, very good at attacking 12-men teams, and they piled on a lot of points. I don't know. I think both sides I can find negatives with them. I think this is much closer than people will suspect. I think this is South's best chance to beat them for quite a while. I really think it is. I think this is South's best chance. I'm going to tip Rabbit.
Rabbit to win. First time you've tipped against the Panthers in a long time. And they're $2.70 outsiders with Bluebet. Now, Friday night footy goes to Darwin, the annual pilgrimage to TIO Stadium, and you'll be able to watch it here on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Parramatta, who take their home game to Darwin, at $2.20 against the Broncos. They normally play the Cowboys up there, but it's the Broncos this time, and they're at $1.67 on Bluebet. Josh Hodgson returns after missing Sunday's game with the flu. Brendan Hands goes to the bench, and Tom Flegler and Corey Oates are back in the 17 for the Broncos.
Yeah, difficult conditions up there, unless you've actually been to Darwin and experienced the humidity and the heat and the sweat. It's not easy. And the games up there are not all that attractive sometimes because there's a fair bit of lost ball. And I think the Eels, since taking the games to Darwin, have had some big wins and they've had some big losses too, I think.
They got flogged last year by the Cowboys.
Cowboys absolutely upended them, yeah. The Eels rely a hell of a lot on dominating possession and field position. They did beat the Panthers earlier this year, fair and square, with a field goal thing at the end, and they did that on ball control and Moses' kicking game. This is really hard because the Broncos are in good form and they've got points in them, but whether that football is allowed to produce itself up there in the steamy conditions in Darwin remains to be seen. I'll go with... And the Broncos are about to come into a really hard part of the draw too. They're about to play some of the top sides or the better credentialed sides in this competition. They've had a good draw up until this point in time, and certainly a lot of games that they were expected to win. I think Bronco narrowly in this one.
The defence has been a little bit suspect the last 2 weeks. They conceded 20 against Canberra.
Both sides have got some demons. I think it'll be a good game. Do I know who'll win? No, I don't. If you're asking me for a tip, I would have to go with Bronco.
43-26 Broncos over the Titans on the weekend. Point-a-thon. Bulldogs knocked around again up against the Sharks. That's the game on Saturday, 5:30. Bulldogs $4.90. Sharkies $1.18. Anyone coming in that you know of? Everyone's going out?
No, there'll be medicals tomorrow. I think they've named a few players there that are still under injury cloud, but they trained. There were a number of players that didn't train yesterday in the session that I saw. There's a day off today. They'll train tomorrow, try and get ready for Saturday the best they can, and go out there. And they've been gritty. I've been quite pleased with the effort.
Gee, Tavita Pangai had a crack on the weekend. He was.
He did well for his first game back.
Yeah.
And they've taken their time with him. As I said, he was probably physically ready a month ago, but they've tried to get him to the point where he can play without fear of re-injury, and he certainly took it to task on the weekend. We just need a few more back around him and get ourselves competitive with the better sides.
Saturday night up at Townsville, Queensland Country Bank Stadium. If you honestly, you'd be tipping the Cowboys on trust the way they're going. They're $1.74 favourites. The Knights are $2.10 with Dane Gagai back in the lineup, which sends Gamble to the bench. They're getting players back, Newcastle, and this looks a much healthier team than the one that they've been fielding recently. And, of course, the news came through this week that Jason Taumalolo is having surgery, so he's gone for 6 to 8 weeks or something like that. I know everyone's been wondering what's happening with the Cowboys. They haven't been the same team. The stats say they haven't got the same go forward as they had last year.
Their football's way off the pace from what it was last year. Their game was electric out of dummy half and across the advantage line last season. They just haven't recaptured that sort of attacking pressure. And when you're not putting pressure on the opposition defence, they're getting a little bit more of a rest, and then they can come at you with their good stuff. Cowboys aren't sapping anything out of their opposition. They're making a lot of mistakes and making life easier for their opponent. There are only 2 reasons that you could possibly tip the Cowboys in this game. One is that's Townsville, and you think that's mystically going to change the result. And number 2 is trust, that you suddenly think they're going to bounce back to form. When you've got to believe your eyes, and your eyes are telling you the Knights are playing the better football, the grittier football, and they're more settled into what works for them than what the Cowboys are at the moment, who are probably playing on hope a little bit at the moment until something goes right, and then they can get back into their rhythm. They're playing with no rhythm at the moment at all. The Knights they're up, they're confident.
Yeah, gutsy.
There's no reason why the Knights should be going there expecting anything less than a win, and I think they can. I'm going to tip the Knights.
Newcastle to win up in Townsville. Don't think they've. Joey used to love winning up there. Off to the cow. Let him go to the Mad Cow when they won up there.
Yeah.
That was enough incentive for Joey.
I've dragged a few out of there over the years.
Yes. Few missed their flight coming back in the morning too, let me tell you. Sunday, 2:00, Suncorp. Dolphins, another Queensland derby. Dolphins, $1.74 favourites. Titans, $2.10 outsiders thanks to Bluebet. Felice Kafusi's back. He's missed 4 weeks. Kenny Bromwich, though, has been suspended, so that's a straight swap. And AJ Brimson is on the extended bench. So he may well come back into the team. And Thomas McKaylee will play his first game for the Titans after coming back from the UK.
Yeah. Word on the street, depends on which streets you walk down these days. Word on the street is that Brimson will play, and will play fullback. I don't know whether that means Jaden Campbell goes to the bench or misses out altogether. The reason why I've gone to my phone is to actually look at the lineups here, because there's just a little bit of wear and tear around the Dolphins at the moment. Looks okay. Yeah, looks okay. Yeah, Kafusi's a big back in. Then I'm looking over here. There's not much in this at all.
You were hearing Phil Gould's thought process out loud and when he puts his tips together.
I'm just looking at Brian Kelly and up against Branko Lee, and I'm looking at
Philip
Sami up against Ewan Aiken. I'm looking at Kieran Foran back in the side against Nikorima and Couture against Tanner Boyd and Kieran Foran. I'm looking at Jeremy Marshall-King in really good form at the moment.
He's having a conversation with himself.
Tom Gilbert.
Rainman.
Yeah, I'm going to trust the Titan in the Queensland derby.
Ooh. Thought you tipped Dolphin, given how good they are as the mascots. Very tough.
I'm going to trust the Titan.
Okay. Titans.
Yep.
Another outsider. Well, I think we know where you're going with the next one. You've been declaring to everyone who wants to listen the Tigers are going to beat Manly at $3.20 outsiders. Manly at $1.35. Jareem Buller, the young gun. I've seen some clips of him during the week, and you're right. He's quite the athlete. They reckon he was good enough to play basketball in the NBL.
Yeah.
One of those freakish young athletes. Dane Laurie's on the bench. Tommy Talau's on the bench. They've got 2 outside backs on the bench. They're not going to line up like that, surely.
I'm not having a tip. I'm just throwing my support behind the Tiger. I want to see them win a game.
Okay. Then we get to the two Anzac Day games. Roosters $1.25, Dragons $3.95.
Yeah, Rooster to beat Dragon with Joey Manu now moving to 5.8.
Storm $1.25, Warriors $3.95.
That's not so cut and dried for mine.
Yeah.
You know, we'll all assume Storm coming off the loss will go back there and get it right there, and they very rarely lose two in a row, and they're very hard to beat down there. The Warriors going all right. They're going okay. They will go there with a lot of confidence every now and then. I'll say Storm, but I'm not writing the Warrior off at all. So I'm thinking Rabbit. I think there's a lot of upsets. I think the Rabbit can cause an upset. I think the Bronco can win. I think Knights will beat Cowboys. Titans, Dolphins. What did I say? Titan win. Hoping for Tiger. Rooster will win, and Storm will probably win.
Do you sit there on Saturday morning when you're doing the form and have that extended conversation with yourself? Does it go for several hours?
What form?
Race form?
I don't do race form.
Oh.
I leave that to experts.
Right. I'd just love to sit there.
I haven't got time to do it. I rely on others to do that.
Did you used to do your own form? Like, did you?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
But
what are the key things? What are the key stats with doing form? What do you used to like?
Get experts to do it for me. Trust me, it is because
I know.
And you know the key to any form of gambling or risk or whatever is value. You've got to be getting the right price for what you're doing. You need people that can assess that and know what they're doing. There are any number of factors that go into winning football games, that go into winning horse races, that go into winning whatever. You know, there are a number of factors. How you weight each factor and what priority you give to each factor and how much that determines their real probability is really important. You need mathematical people that can come up with algorithms, and there are plenty of very, very successful models around, and you need to be able to tap into one that's got a proven record of success, and you need to trust it, because there will be losing periods and there will be good periods, but you've got to be able to ride it all out. No one wins everything forever. It's as simple as that. That's why they say gamble responsibly.
And we say that every week here on Six Tackles with Gus. Thanks very much. Oh, what games are you doing this week? I know you're doing Anzac Day.
I'm doing Tiger game out there at Campbelltown. I'm going to do it standing up. Yeah. It's going to be. I'm not even wear a Tiger jersey.
Would you be prepared to wear an old Phillips jersey if we could find one?
If we can find one, I'll wear it. I want to see the Tiger win a game, and I'll be out there on Anzac Day. I'm thrilled to be calling that game, and again, a part of that celebration. So it's great.
I'll be thrilled to be calling it with you. That's Six Tackles with Gus for this week. Enjoy the footy Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday. Too much footy is never enough. We'll see you next week.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website